brought up regenerative farming there too. So you see that a lot now. It's like regenerative beef, regenerative meats. What exactly is that for somebody who might not understand? Like what does that mean? What is a regeneratively farm? What is a regenerative farming? Why is that important? And how is that going to, benefit the soil, benefit um, our health in general?
Yeah, so regenerative farming is a self-contained ecosystem that requires no external outputs to create the food that's on that property.
Mm.
And there's probably some technicalities to that, but in general, that's how I would think about it. And so what that means is these farmers have to understand the systems of nature and address the problems that you'll run into on a farm by incorporating different animals onto the farm or different species of crops onto the farm so that they mitigate some of the issues when it comes to pests or weeds, or lack of nutrients in the soil. And so what these regenerative farmers will do is just create multi-speciation, which is just having, 10 farm animals on the property that all serve a different role in creating a healthy ecosystem that thrives. So it's really just raising food in line with as nature intended. And so there's no herbicides, there's no pesticides, there's none of the chemicals being sprayed on your food. And what that does in the long run is it creates really rich topsoil that holds carbon, sequesters carbon out of the atmosphere. It holds more water in the soil so that that soil is then fertile for the next time you go to plant crops or, you go and want to plant the next thing. It's that soil is ready to raise a nutritious piece of food. Whereas the other system is tilling the soil, which is essentially using a massive piece of machinery that rips up the topsoil, and then the sunlight hits that soil, dehydrates it, kills all the nutrients in the soil, and then they need to use genetically modified seeds to plant into that soil. Those genetically modified seeds are built to be uh, resistant to any of the harmful effects that some of the pesticides or herbicides might have on it, so it can live even though you're spraying chemicals on it, and everything else in the soil dies. So what that does is there's no nutrients in the soil. There's nothing being absorbed by that plant other than the chemical fertilizer that's they're putting on the soil. And you essentially just have dirt at the end of the day, and it's not really full of life. And that microbial system, like the things you don't see, is the whole essence of soil. Like there's a life beneath our feet when you have rich soil, and that is actually very, very important when it comes to raising food the way we're supposed to raise it.
So why do these idiots like Bill Gates keep buying up all the farmland and are literally destroying our soil, and they think that for whatever reason, like there's all the data in the world out there now to show that regenerative farming is literally the only way that we are going to be able to like start to reverse
Basically, uh, wrapped around the idea of being able to control the food system. Because if you can give people bread, they are not going to riot, and they're happy, and they're able to live a surf life, but they're just part of the system. And so yeah, I think like he definitely has an agenda. I don't want to necessarily put too much of my tinfoil hat on right now, but I do think that like there are a lot of nefarious actors out there, and the way that he's approached this whole idea of fixing the food system is not how I would do it. And I do think that like the idea of thinking that cell grown meat or lab grown meat being good for us is a very scary thought. I think nutrition is a backwards looking concept. Like we came from somewhere, and trying to deviate that through these new introductions to the food system is a really scary thought. And I don't think that we should just put all of our eggs in that basket, or, will I entertain the idea? Like, I just don't think that like lab grown meat is something that people should be putting in their bodies at all.